So what would you like to ask?
Okay, I'll go first. Um, I want to know about there's a big economic collapse coming, and I want to know what the purpose of it is, what's the lesson in it, what can we do to prepare for it, and when can we expect it?
And through this question, you have a knowing of this, yes? In other words, it feels that there is a knowing and a certainty of your question. And the answer, of course, is what if? What if all of the things that you own and have in your world is taken away or is given away or is no longer? Then what are you left with? And you are left with your inner knowing. You are left with your inner love. And what we say around this is from the question, it is coming from a place of saying, how can we prepare? And dear one, what we want you to know is that the fear that is permeating from that question is self perpetuating. In other words, when you are asking, how can we prepare? What we say is for anything, whether you feel back in the 50s there was preparedness going on, and back in before, um, many times there was preparedness going on, and many lifetimes there was preparedness going on about the unknown. And maybe some of you feel the unknown, and maybe you have a knowing of what is to happen. And how would you prepare for something that you already know is going to happen? In other words, look back into your life and decide, if I've had a knowing about something, and did I prepare for it? And the other question would be, would I want to know what my future is? Would I want to know what is about to happen? And if the answer is yes, then there is a propensity to have this constant feeling of the future is coming for me. And when you are in the future and having the future coming to you, it is unsettling, is it not?
Yes.
And from that unsettled place, what we suggest you mm, ask yourself is this, is that how do I want to feel now? What would allow myself to feel better in this moment? Would it be to be prepared? Would I be canvassing and building underground bunkers, or would I be living my life to its fullest? Would I be traveling, and would I be focused on mm, mm, hoarding everything that I have, or would I be spending time with my family, or what would I be doing if I knew exactly what was going to happen and when? And of course, it is the present moment that always is the answer for you. And when you are in that present moment, the fear can dissipate. You can look around and say, I am settled. Mm, I am connected. I am grateful for who I am. And I know that my source is my chi energy. My source is my allowing. I am connected to all that is, and you cannot destroy that. Therefore, I am everlasting. And if you are everlasting, then these questions will always come up when you come into a physical body of the future. In other words, when you're in the physical body, there is that question of what is to come of me? What's going to happen in the future? How can I prepare? And some of these things are questions that you can do to allow yourself to feel relaxed in the present moment. That is the key, to do whatever you need to do to relax and allow yourself to be in this present moment, feeling connected, purposeful, and alive with great passion. And if your focus has been about the future and what's going to happen, then it is somewhat difficult at times to really get back to that moment of present moment. Think of when you are asleep. Think of when you are mm, having an orgasm. Think of yourself when you are a child. These children are present, and the awe of life can flow through you as opposed to the fear of the future. Do you understand?
I do understand, but there's still a piece of the human side that you have to make sure you have food and shelter and you're not going to starve, or people aren't going to loot, your dwelling. And there is a second part to this question. So the collapse is supposed to be an international collapse. It's going to collapse everything, all the markets, everything with it. And I'm wondering, is this going to be the stage for the one world currency? And if so, is that going to be cryptocurrency? And will the other things still have value like gold and silver?
There is an evolvement, and what we are saying is, what we feel from you is this: there is an evolvement of human beings that is happening in the third dimension, and we understand your concern. We understand your concern around the what ifs and to be prepared for this. And what we want you to know is this: that human beings are evolving where you will not, there will be a whole vast amount of exodus, if you will, and that is already happening. That many of you are choosing to observe and support and be connected with all that is from the non-physical place. And what we are saying is this: that you will be able to have resources to you at all times. In other words, your communication is going to change. The evolvement of human beings, from our perspective, is there is a new language. There is a unity that is happening. And but right before unity connects, there is a dissonance. And all of the things that you are speaking of, the crashing of the markets and all of the scarcity thinking and the consciousness, in other words, that all happens in the midst of all the beauty at the same time. And the question for you would be, what makes you feel better to focus on? And you can have all of the things within your your home and bring all of those fears that you have and put them all into your home and say, now I am prepared. And now what? Now what do I do? And how do I want to feel? And again, it brings you back to that present moment. In other words, there is always going to be the unknown, and change will happen, and you will be connected and allowing yourself to be able to be in these markets. In other words, you will not you will not be able to understand necessarily the human evolvement that is happening yet from your third dimension yet. What we are saying is, it is a new unity. And just as we said, when there is a storm happening, when there is a hurricane or a tornado that comes, new growth comes from that afterward. And that is the rebirth, if you will, or the new growth of human capacity. And what we suggest you look forward to is the beauty of what will transpire from that, and not necessarily how can I isolate even further and make sure that I have what I need. In other words, when you come from that place, it isolates yourself. Do you understand?
Yes. Thank you.